Good morning, students. Am I audible? Good morning. Okay, inform all to join. Okay, so let's wait for some time. Let's everyone come in. Okay, so let's start. Right. So good morning to all of you. This is a class of professional elective 3 of 6th semester, and it is real water supply and on-site sanitation system. So we are in the module 4. So basically, we are discussing about sanitation. Correct. So basically, what we have discussed in the last class, we have discussed about the basic idea of sanitation, right? So if I remind you about last class we have discussed about sanitation. And what is sanitation? It's basically sanitation is defined as an environment which is suitable for a human life or even any other living bodies. Okay, that means the main purpose of sanitation is to prevent the human contact with the faces part of sanitation. Basically, the main purpose of sanitation is to prevent the contact between human and the unhygienation. Okay, and under sanitation we have two type of approach. One is your off-site sanitation, another one is your on-site sanitation, right? I think these things are already discussed uh, in the last class. Wait. So basically, the main selection criteria for on-site or off-site sanitations are basically depend upon the community density. That means how many households are actually um, exist in a particular location. It's very important term in deciding whether we are going to on-site or off-site. Okay, so the main selection criteria for on-site or off-site sanitations are mainly depend on the population density and also the water volume. That means the water availability, you can say. Okay, so if a particular community have a high population density, or you can say a high water supply also, then you can go for off-site sanitation. Fine. And for a low population density, on-site sanitation is preferable. For high density population and for high water volume, off-site sanitation is preferable. And for low population density, it's lead to a on-site sanitation basically. Okay. So when it comes to on-site population, okay, let's discuss for that on-site only. So when it comes to offsite, basically, the offsite sanitation consists of a sewer network and centralized water treatment plant. That means when it comes to offsite sanitation, the offsite sanitation, even in the term mean offsite, that means we are going to treat the waste, whether it is water waste or solid waste. We're going to treat the waste in a different location. Okay, we need to first collect the waste from the source, and we have to transport to the particular location where the treatment is will be done. It's called off-site sanitation. So for that, we need a centralized wastewater treatment plant. That means to collect the water from the source to the treatment plant, we need a proper channel for that, right? So for that, we need a centralized wastewater treatment plant for that, for off-site sanitation. Also, we need a sewer network. Okay, as well, it's called sewer network. That's usually you can see in urban areas. Basically, there will be a sewer network. So, off-site sanitation, we can say the off-site sanitation consists of a sewer network and a centralized wastewater treatment plant. But it is not the case in the rural areas. We don't have a centralized wastewater treatment plant or centralized sewer network. So that's why we can go for on-site sanitation when it comes to your rural areas. Okay. Moreover, the offsite treatment process also required high cost because the investment required for offsite sanitation is very high. Okay, that means the construction of sewer network. Basically, it's deal with the construction of sewer network or wastewater treatment plant. It needs some. It come with some cost. Okay. So it is not possible in rural areas. That's why we can go for the on-site sanitation in rural areas. Okay. So the conventional system for industrial countries, you can say industrial countries, is offsite treatment. So suppose there is an industrialized country, that means this is a developing country. It's a kind of urban areas. For this kind of area, we can go for offsite sanitation. That means in that particular area, we can go for constructing your wastewater treatment plant or sewer plant. Okay, it is convenient for use. Okay, and a particular household, a particular you can say yeah, particular household or a particular community which is producing a waste, it is not responsible for the operation and maintenance of the facility. There is a common body. It may be a private body or it may be a government body. Okay, so they will be responsible for the on-site off-site sanitation basically. Okay, because they are responsible for the sewer plant, wastewater treatment plant, all these things. You are not. Fine, but it is not the case in rural areas. In rural areas, on-site sanitation is common. Okay, because the facilities need to be operated by the users only, and it is the low cost in investment and operation. Okay, that's why we go for the conventional. We don't go for the conventional treatment plant in rural areas. We can go for low cost treatment plant, which can be done at the source point. That means on site. That's we can go for that particular treatment plant. That's why it's called on-site sanitation, because sanitation, the process is done even at the site, on site. Okay, so basically when it comes to off-site sanitation, if I want to tell you about the advantages and disadvantages of off-site sanitation. So in the last class we have discussed about what? We have discussed about sanitation and requirement of on-site sanitation, advantages and disadvantages of on-site sanitation, right? So what about the requirement of on-site sanitation? I already told you, right, that for on-site sanitation, we a particular. Okay, we'll discuss about on-site sanitation little bit after some time. Let's discuss about off-site sanitation first. Okay, so about on off-site sanitation, I already discussed with you. This is, I think, it is clear. So if I tell you about benefit of off-site sanitation, so it will come with the advantages of centralized wastewater system. Since a centralized wastewater system is included in offsite sanitation, so there will be a good treatment process. It is kind of an advantage of offsite treatment process or on-site sanitation, because it involves with the high removal of organic matter, nutrients, pathogenic bacteria can be removed from this treatment plant. Okay, and it can be adopted in urban areas. That means for at urban areas, it is very preferable. I'm talking about off-site sanitation. Okay, and requirement of space for wastewater treatment plant is also less, like 0.5 to 2 meter square per person. Okay, so particular in a particular household, since you are not responsible for the treatment of the waste product, whether it is solid or liquid, it will be controlled by a centralized body. That means it may be private body or government body, so you are not responsible for that. So the space required for wastewater treatment plant in a particular household is very less. So we can say, in other words, for in case of offsite sanitation, we require less space. Okay, and can be controlled very easily because it's controlled by a centralized system. These are the advantages of offsite sanitation system. But with this, some disadvantages also come with offsite sanitation, like cost. Okay, that is Construction cost or maintenance cost is high for offsite sanitation process. That means the high cost is high cost in investment and operation. Moreover, it required high skilled person. Okay, because it is not easy to operate by any normal person. So for that, for operating or maintenance purpose, we need a skilled person. Okay, this it is also included in disadvantages. And the material required for the treatment process or the distribution plant, the particular material required for that component, it may not be available in locally. So it may be required for transporting from different areas. Again, this uh, you know this act as a burden, a barrier, so you can say. So materials are often not locally available. This is another disadvantage of offsite sanitation. Fine. Yeah, again, energy and large machinery also required for this kind of offsite sanitation. This is also under disadvantages. Fine. So this is all about your basically all about overall explanation for offsite sanitation. Fine. Regarding your on-site sanitation, we have already discussed about on-site sanitation. Correct? So basically, the sanitation refer to what? The public health condition related to clean drinking water and adequate treatment and disposal of human excreta and sewage. So basic main purpose that we already discussed in the last class, the main purpose of sanitation is to what? Is to prevent human contact with fish is part of the sanitation. Okay? And it aim to protect human health by providing a clean environment that will stop the transmission of diseases. Okay? So basically the main purpose of sanitation is to prevent the growth of diseases. Okay? Now, when it comes to on-site sanitation, there are different approaches for different approaches can be adopted for on-site sanitation, like septic tank, pit latrine. Okay, that thing we have already discussed in roughly. Like requirement for on-site sanitation, advantages and also disadvantages of on-site sanitation are discussed in the last class. Okay, so okay, let me share my screen here. I'll for your reminder. Okay, can you see the screen? Yeah, so these advantages and disadvantages of on-site sanitations are already discussed in last class. Okay, and different approaches or different techniques that can be adopted for on-site sanitations are like pit latrine, ventilated improved pit latrine, okay, composite toilets, ecological sanitation, okay, two pit pour flush toilet, all are under on-site sanitation techniques. Okay, you can say technology. So okay, we'll discuss about this only. Fine. So I'll show you one. Okay, wait. Where I have to show. Yeah. Okay. So basically, when it comes to on-site sanitation, our main aim or main purpose to solve the problem related to night soil. Okay. Regarding night soil, also we have already discussed in previous classes, right? Night soil basically the human excreta and the waste that may be collected by a worker at the night. That's why it's called night soil, right? So the night soil management, and in other words, the waste management or sewage management, when it comes to in rural areas, okay. So in rural areas, the night soil disposal and management is done by different approaches. Fine. So for the disposal of night soil or excretal waste, that means human excreta waste, without the help of water carrier system, that means I already told you that these are categorized under on-site sanitation. Okay, and wastewater plant. That means decentralized wastewater plant is related to offsite sanitation. That means that means in case of on-site sanitation, there is no facility for centralized water supply system. Okay, so we have to deal with that, or we need to or manage the waste, that is the night soil, without the centralized water system plan, which is very effective in rural areas. Okay, sort of for the disposal of night soil or excretal disposal or excretal waste, without the help of water carrier system, different types of previes or latrines may be constructed. So it is a technical term, and latrines, I can, it is a usual term that can be used. Okay, so previes may be constructed. Okay, and there are different type of previes or different type of latrines from the starting of history. From today, different previes are used basically, like trans privy, pit privy, okay, or dug well privy, borehole privy, can privy, okay, then concrete vault privy, aqua privy, chemical toilet, pour flush water, seal latrine, all are categorized under um, your night soil management techniques, which is can be adopted in rural areas by, or by, you can say, can be adopted by rural communities. Okay. Okay. So we'll discuss one by one, just roughly, okay, so that we can have some visualization about all this type. Okay. So basically, translating or trans privy is originally used by German, basically. Okay. So these are used, the trans privy or translating, basically the trans privy are used as a temporary measures during fair camps. You can say the emergency purpose. This consists of a rows of parallel trenches, 0.9 meter long, 0.9 meter long. X second. Okay, hold on a second. Okay. So basically, okay, I'll show you one translator that can be used in previously. So these are used temporarily measures during fair or camps. Like these consist of a rows of parallel trans, 0.9 meter long, 0.3 meter wide, and zero point 0.3 to zero point 0.6 meter depth, and provided with a privacy screen also. Fine. And these faces, urine uh, or other wastewater fall directly into the trench, and excavated earth is piled round the trench, and its user after use throws some quantity of earth on the physical matters. Its trench may be used for about 100 physical dropping. So it's kind of a it was used previously basically. It's like a trans privy, can be used even in the rural areas now also, but it is kind of a temporary approach for the night soil disposal and management. Okay, so I'll show you one. I think I have some. Let me check. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, here you can see this is a it's a very old picture of trans privy. Okay, it's what basically a as I know, as I have got from the Google, it is from the Germany. Okay, so basically it is a very old kind of approach for you can say for waste management, or you can say night soil management. Okay, so yeah, next let's go to the next one. Okay, so next one, your peat privy, air or dog well privy. Okay, so peat privy is basically the uh, it consists of what? It's a peat of 0.9 to 1.2 meter in diameter. Okay, it consists of a peat. That means this is the depth of the peat. It is like 0.9 to 1.8 in diameter. Okay, and 2 to 4 meter deep. Okay, the diameter is your 0.9 to 1.2 meter. That means the width is the 1.2 meter around, and the depth of the pit is what? 2 to 4 meter depth deep. From the ground it is 2 to 4 meter deep. Okay, that this pit may be lined or unlined, but its bottom is unlined basically. So here you can see in this diagram also the line is given. Lining means what? Lining is basically provided to prevent, it's kind of border area, so to prevent the contact between the circumference. Okay, lining may be done by other impervious material. It can also do with a clay material. Okay, you know clay is a less permeable matter, so you can also put clay soil over the pit, around the pit. Okay, so it's called a lining. Lining means you are preventing the contact between inside and the outside atmosphere. Okay, but the below this privy, the bottom is unlined. Here you can see it is written here, right? Where yeah, the bottom is unlined. That means bottom is unlined means what? This is pervious. This is pervious. That means it is not meant to be impervious. That means it is allowed that particular liquid coming from the waste can be go into the under subsoil. Okay, so that's why it is provided with a unline. Unline means it is pervious now. Okay, okay, so the pit is covered with a slab basically, with a hole, and yeah, so it's a normal kind of a toilet or latrine, you can say. That can also, it can be used um, in a particular household in a rural areas. Okay, so when this pit get filled up, the whole superstructure are shifted to another pit, and filled pit is covered with earth, and its content may be taken out after about a couple of months and may be used as a manure. That means there is a certain capacity of that pit. Okay, so you have to dig up to certain depth, that is like 4 meter, up to 4 meter you can say, because you should not go more than that because it's a shallow latrine. Okay, because you also need to the uh, prevent the contact between the waste matter with the groundwater. Okay, so even in the last class also we also discussed, right? Here I think somewhere here, yeah, surface water pollution, where somewhere, yeah, let me check, yeah, not suitable for substrata with hard rock and high water table condition. That means if the water table is so high, we are not going for that on-site pit process, like on pit latrine, okay, or dug well latrine, okay. So it is possible only when the groundwater table is level of groundwater table is low, then only. Fine. Anyway, so when the pits get filled up, because there is a certain capacity of this pit, after fulfill of the whole pit, what we will do? We are nothing to do. We have to shift this superstructure. That means above the ground, whatever superstructure you have given for privacy purposes or for ventilation also. Okay, this superstructure must be moved to different area. Okay, so you have to move to different areas, uh, like another pit, and this pit was covered with earth. That means you have to refill the soil above this waste, and this particular waste can be decomposed with the earth after some months, and that particular soil organic matter mixture can be used as a fertilizer, or you can also use for in agriculture field, like that. Okay, so this is a kind of a process of pit privy. Okay, now for borehole privy, we have already discussed about that. That means we have to construct a borehole. Okay, the borehole privy is constructed where the space available is very little. That means since for pit privy you record what is the area you record, like around 1 to 1 meter, 1 meter square area you require, and depth is how much? 2 to 4 meter. Okay, whatever depth can be available, can be achievable, but the area in the ground, it's required, a particular area is required for pit privy or pit latrine. Okay, but if particular area is not sufficient or not available, you can go for dug well latrine or dug well privy, or you can set a borehole privy. Why it's called borehole privy? Because you have to create a borehole. Okay, so the borehole privy is constructed where the space available is very little. It is similar to pit privy. It's similar to pit privy, but the size of the is reduced. But it is a smaller than the pit privy, while its depth is much larger. So there is an advantage also. That means you can also go for larger depth, but area will be small. Okay, if I drawing the borehole privy here, suppose I'm drawing here. So this is your pit privy. If in the same place I want to draw a borehole privy, it will be like that. I'm drawing like that, so it will be like that. The area, cross-sectional area is small, but the depth is high, so it's kind of borehole privy. Okay, so this I'll also show you a borehole privy. Let's say, yeah, yeah, this kind of thing. Yeah, so you can say this is a borehole latrine or borehole privy. So the particular cross-sectional area is less, okay, but depth is high. It's kind of a 4 to 8 meter depth, okay, but the diameter is how much? 30 to 40 centimeter, like a kind of a 1 feet, around 1 feet. Okay, it's kind of more than, slightly more than 1 feet also. Okay, so it's a borehole latrine, but the other mechanism is similar to pit latrine or pit privy. Okay. Okay. Yeah, diagram is here. Sorry. So when the borehole gets filled up, this squatting slab or that slab and superstructure are shifted to another borehole, and fill the borehole is covered with earth, and this content may be taken out after about a couple of months, may be used as a manure. It's similar approach to the pit latrine. Okay, so borehole privy or pit privy are almost similar. Pit privy can be also known as a dug well privy also. Okay, because it is look like a well, right? So it's called a dug well actually. So I think some images also there, dug well. I'll show you. So it is a dug well privy. So it's a kind of a dug well privy because it's look like a well, okay? And depth is 3 to 4.5 or maximum 4 meter depth. Will not go more than that, okay? So after fill up the waste up to this level, we can move the superstructure in different area and go for digging again. So it basically this is called dug well latrine or dug well privy or pit latrine or pit privy, okay? And your borehole privy also similar, but the area is different. The width is smaller, but the depth is higher. And other approaches are similar that we have already discussed about that, okay? Another one is there the pail or can privy. This is also known as removable receivable privy. This is the oldest and primitive type of privy which is still widely used in rural areas. So I think there is a diagram or not. So it's kind of a pali or can privy, okay? So I'll show you in better image. Let's see I will find or not. Let's check. So it's kind of a pali privy, okay? The image is inverted. So anyway, this is a preview means that it's a that particular container is a repressible, okay, repressible, okay. So it can be removed the pali. You can also remove the pali where the excreta will be stored actually, basically. So basically, this is the oldest and primitive type of privy which is still widely used in rural areas. In this privy, excreta is collected in iron can or palis basically. So the area of this poly may be around 40 centimeter, 30 centimeter multiply 20 centimeter in size. Okay. And its privy is in which that can is placed under the seat. Okay. And it is used for collecting the waste, urinal or any other waste water. The excreta is collected from this container once and twice in a day by person who is responsible for the disposal. Okay. So basically this poly, this can basically, this is the can, this can be removable. Okay. So after fill up this poly can be removed. Okay. And you can also add another poly here. So it is a kind of a approach which can be used in rural areas. Okay. Other superstructures similar to that. Okay. Then you can also go for concrete valve privy that is made of concrete also. So it is an improved form of pit or borehole privy. So it is an improved form of pit latrine or borehole latrine. So which is used in sandy soil or in location where groundwater table is high. Okay. So yeah, this kind of a is called concrete vault privy because there is a concrete liner is provided at the bottom. Okay. So the diagram is showing a concrete vault privy which consists of a watertight concrete vault or a chamber constructed underground for collection and storage of physical matter. Okay. So from the diagram, so it is understandable that there is a superstructure. This is a ground substructure. Okay. So below that, this human strata and the waste is collected in this chamber, which is constructed of RCC. Okay, it's a concrete vault which is constructed. Okay. Even here, you can say this is a manhole. Also, it's provided here for cleaning purposes. That means this waste can be collected outside by this manhole. Okay, there is also manhole is provided. One is ventilation shaft also provided also to release the gases that may be generated in the chamber. So it's kind of an improved version of pit latrine or you can say borehole latrine. Okay. So the capacity of the valve, that means this valve actually, the capacity of the valve is sufficient for 6 months storage. That means after 6 months you have to go for removal or removal of the waste or human excreta or night soil from this manhole approach. Okay. Okay. So this is kind of a, this is actually the concrete wall privy. Next, you can go for aqua privy. The aqua privy is also known as a wet privy, wet latrine, in order to distinguish it from the other type of latrine, which are basically dry latrine. So till now, whatever privy we are discussing, like concrete wall privy or pali or can privy, borehole privy, and the dug well privy, and also the trans privy, there is no facility for water. Okay, so we already mentioned that they are not connected with decentralized wastewater treatment. Okay, there is no involvement of water. But when it comes to aqua privy, since aqua represents water only, so aqua privy is related to the water also. That means aqua privy, which is also known as wet latrine, in order to distinguish it from the other types of latrine, which are also known as dry latrine. So yeah, this is under dry latrine also. If somebody asks example of dry latrine, you can also go for giving the name of the concrete wall privy, then your dug well or borehole privy, okay, trans privy, or are you can say that dry latrine or dry privy. So when it comes to wet privy, it will be your aqua privy. Okay, so I don't want to go in detail about that. You can see the diagram for that. So there is a chamber which is can be collect, this kind of a septic tank can be constructed below the uh, superstructure. Fine. So it's kind of a septic tank which is directly constructed just below the latrine. Fine. So this is the basic mechanism of aqua privy, where water is also involved here. Okay. So here a different type of wet privy can be used. I'll show you one diagram for wet privy. Let's check aqua privy. Yeah. So the aqua privy has a watertight tank basically immediately under the latrine floor. Excreta drop directly into the water tank through a pipe. The bottom of the pipe is submerged into the liquid in the tank, forming a wet seal to prevent the escape of flies, mosquito, and well, basically it is a water tank which is um, installed below the superstructure basically. So let's see any other diagram is there or not. So this is a aqua privy. Where is the go? Yeah. So you can see this is a basic diagram for aqua privy basically. Okay. There is also a outlet is also fixed here where the scum can be go through there. So this is kind of a introduction to different types of privy that can be used in rural areas. Fine. There are different other also there, like in the chemical toilet also there. You can also study by yourself also. Okay. Like aqua privy you can study, then chemical toilet, then pour flush water seal latrine. These are also important. You can also study by yourself. Okay. So if you can understand the above one, you can also understand these things also. It's not that big deal. Fine. So yeah, this is all about today class. This is kind of a first class. Again, we have to meet again. We have second class also. Fine. So with this, I just want to close my sharing here. Any doubt till now? Whatever we have discussed till now. Any doubt? Okay. So let's take your attendance then. So after again, we have to meet again. So let me first close my recording here.